Hey everyone, and welcome to the MOTHERLODE M+ guide for Warlocks. This dungeon received some nice quality of life changes since its debut in BFA, so let's check what awaits you on its Azerite-filled shores. The coin-operated crowd Pummeler has received several upgrades since the last time, making the fight more interesting but also quite easier. The encounter revolves around dodging hazards and weakening the boss by preventing bombs from exploding. While it's mostly a tank-focused fight, there are key mechanics everyone needs to watch for. Shocking Claw is a massive frontal you must dodge. Static Pulse deals party-wide damage and knocks you away while applying a dot, so use a defensive before it goes off. Throw Coins causes gold piles to rain from the sky. Avoid getting hit. The most crucial mechanic involves the 6 football bombs the boss periodically launches. Move to these bombs immediately and kick them into the boss. On higher keys, even a single explosion can be deadly, as the bombs deal massive damage and apply a stacking debuff that increases damage taken by 25%. If multiple go off, the stacks quickly become overwhelming, making survival nearly impossible. However, when handled correctly, each bomb increases the boss's damage taken by 25% instead, and this effect also stacks. Additionally, each successful hit removes 5 stacks of pay to win, a buff the boss gains if the tank fails to move him off gold piles before coin magnet starts. Azerokk revolves mostly around ad management. The boss starts the fight with 2 Earth Ragers. Before pulling, you can use fracking totems to incapacitate both for a full minute. However, any damage will instantly break them free, so your group must be extra careful. Once loose, the Earth Ragers fixate on a random player and chase them. If they reach their target, they rapidly apply Jagged Cut, a dot that will bleed you out fast. Use every tool available to keep them away from yourself and your teammates. Killing the ads isn't a viable strategy since Azerokk will continuously summon more. He can only have 2 active at a time, so keeping them controlled is the best approach. When the boss empowers an Earth Rager with Azerite, he will break it from all crowd controls, heal it and give it a 50% damage increase, while also making it take 200% more damage. While empowered, the Earth Rager pulses party-wide damage, and this is the perfect time to burn it down. Azerokk himself periodically casts a knock-up frontal cone in a random direction, so watch your positioning. He also casts Resonant Quake, a strong AoE that triggers aftershock from active Earth Ragers while slowing everyone by 30%. This is the time to use a defensive. However, if an Azerite-infused Earth Rager is still alive when Resonant Quake goes off, it triggers Azerite Aftershock instead, an almost guaranteed wipe on high keys. Here's a Warlock pro tip. Banish is game-changing in this fight. Casting it on one Earth Rager completely removes it from the equation, making the fight much easier. Rixxa is a simple, straightforward fight centered around managing hazardous zone to avoid running out of space. At the start, and periodically throughout, Rixxa casts Gushing Catalyst, covering large sections of the arena with Azerite pools. Avoid standing in these both while they're falling and after they land. She also casts Azerite Catalyst, targeting a random player and dropping even more Azerite on their position. If targeted, try to place the pools near existing ones to keep the arena as clean as possible. Finally, she uses Propellant Blast, a frontal cone that pushes back both players and Azerite pool in its path. Position yourself to displace the pools in a way that creates more running space for your group. This is also the best time to use a defensive, as there aren't many other high damage moments in the fight. Razdunk remains unchanged from BFA, but his abilities now hit much harder. The fight consists of 1.5 phases, with the first lasting until he reaches 50% HP. During phase 1, Razdunk cycles through 3 abilities. Homing missiles lock onto a random non-tank player, firing a projectile that explodes on impact, damaging the target and anyone nearby. If targeted, move away from the group to prevent unnecessary splash damage. Otherwise, stay stacked on the boss. The other ability he does is Gatling Gun, choosing a random direction and firing a rotating frontal barrage. The last ability in this phase is Micro Missiles. This covers large sections of the room with exploding missiles. Watch closely the 2 ads that are the source of this. Any area they aren't facing will be safe. At 50% HP, the boss flies into the air, becoming immune and entering an intermission phase. He fires down 3 big red rockets that deal damage on impact, so avoid their landing zones. He also summons 2 adds that you must defeat. They randomly attack players and cast Azerite Heartseekers. If targeted, try to position yourself so that the tank can soak it. If that's not possible, use a defensive. Meanwhile, Razdunk casts Drill Smash, dealing lethal damage at the impact point and doing party-wide damage. If targeted by this, position yourself near a big red rocket and let Razdunk destroy it. Once all 3 are gone, his shield drops and the fight returns to phase 1 until he is defeated. Trash mobs have seen some changes since BFA, and knowing how to handle them will make your run much smoother. Mechanized Peacekeepers cast Tear Gas, which disorients anyone caught inside and leaves a large hazard zone. Mech Jockeys are harmless until low on health. At that point, they'll attempt to activate a nearby inactive Peacekeeper. Adult Thugs randomly target players and knock them into the air. If you're the target, use a defensive and demonic circle to counter the knockup. Refreshment vendors cast Iced Spritzer, a damaging channeled stun. Hired assassins are extremely dangerous. They cast Toxic Blades, which poisons their melee attacks, and Fan of Knives, a highly damaging AoE which also applies a poison dot to the entire party if the poison cast wasn't interrupted. After Pummeler, keep an eye out on Azerite Extractors. They cast Rapid Extraction, causing explosions in ground circles and dealing party-wide damage. Earthshapers cast Rock Lance, which hits hard, so handle it appropriately. Stone Furies cast Furious Quake, a pulsing AoE that can be interrupted. Before engaging Azerokk, you'll deal with Taskmaster Askari, who charges a random player and deals strong AoE. Avoid standing in the impact zone and you'll be fine. The area after Azerokk is still difficult, but not nearly as much as before. Venture Co. Alchemists cast Transmute Enemy to Goo, which attempts to polymorph you or an ally into goo. Masterminds randomly target players with Mind Lash, dealing damage over time, and cast Brainstorm, summoning tornadoes that silence and deal massive damage if touched. Before Razdunk, you'll face Ordnance Specialist, who target players with massive artillery zones. You'll also encounter War Machines, which spawn crawler mines that fixate on a random player and explode on contact, dealing lethal damage. They also cast Charge Shot, dealing party-wide damage, alternating between players. When facing 2 of them before the last boss, cycle defensives and help your healer, especially if their charge shots align. Finally, you'll come across free-range crawler mines. Unlike those spawned by War Machines, these remain dormant until you get too close. If they activate, handle them the same way. And that's it. Everything you need to know to go back to the sunny and explosive beaches of the Motherlode. If you found this guide helpful, please hit that like and subscribe, as it means so much to me. You can also watch me live on Twitch, where I stream almost every day. Remember to soulstone and good luck.